I know you're like me and you're probably zoomed in on the charts. This is a daily. You're like, come on, come on. That's how I am. I really am. But that's why I also zoom out on the charts all the time. I want to speak to ADA price in this video, but it's this headline, everybody. I had to do a video tonight just to cover this. And I'm doing this now because this is the best possible time, if you're an ADA bull, for things like this to be happening. Bitcoin OS demo sends Bitcoin to Cardano and back without a cross-chain bridge. The demo transaction used Bitcoin OS new token XBTC and zero-knowledge proofs instead of custodial arrangements. That is what is so huge. Cardano is the best positioned blue chip altcoin for a crypto bull market. And this is one huge reason. Hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. Let's talk about it. It actually is. This market gets me frustrated a lot. I'm sure many of you too. But it's teaching me patience and really is teaching me to become a better long-term macro investor. But at the same time, when I really start thinking about this and realizing where I think we are in the cycle, I kind of get a little bit excited when things like this are happening to set the stage for a very large increase in ADA value. Let's put it that way. Let me go over this. This is really big, and I'll explain why. In a demo transaction, developers from smart contract operating system Bitcoin OS claim to have sent 1 Bitcoin from a Bitcoin wallet to a Cardano wallet and back. And they say claim to, but if we go to this post over here, here's their post tracking the whole entire transaction. BOS sent its 1 XBTC from its wallet, its Bitcoin wallet, directly to Sundial's Cardano wallet. This transaction was bridgeless. No custodian or vault of any kind intermediated it. So you can start seeing the transaction there. And at this point, XBTC lives as a UTXO on Cardano, spendable by a Cardano private key. To prove it, we sent 1 XBTC from Sundial's Cardano wallet to Handle's Cardano wallet. And there's the transaction happening there. After that came another mind-blowing transaction. We sent the 1 XBTC from Handle's Cardano wallet back to BOS Bitcoin wallet. So you see this Bitcoin going from Bitcoin to Cardano, back to Bitcoin. Once again, slick and smooth, no bridge required. Finally, BOS unwrapped its 1 XBTC, reclaiming its standard 1 BTC again. It's crazy. All XBTC remains safely backed and redeemable, secured with cryptographic integrity instead of trust. This demo illustrates our progress in bringing trustless BTC to the Cardano ecosystem. So going back to this article, I wanted to make a point because this is the co-founder of BOS. Crypto users don't use Bitcoin beyond the existing functionality, not because they value simplicity, but because they don't have any other options. And that's the whole point here, everybody. Cardano is opening up a massive floodgate of options. And we're talking with Bitcoin DeFi. And Bitcoin DeFi just starting. This is the first cycle of Bitcoin DeFi. Cardano is the one that is opening up this entire ecosystem securely. That's what's happening right now. We are at the very beginning of this happening. I wanted to point this out because I just think it's kind of funny that and with innovations like this, especially with something like Cardano evolved, there's going to be people that are critics that don't like it. Despite these achievements, criticisms against expanding Bitcoin's programmable layer have seen its community split over what to do next, with some suggesting it could turn Bitcoin into a worthless altcoin. So, of course, there's going to be Bitcoin people that don't want this to happen. And really, what they don't want to happen is Bitcoin DeFi to just be unlocked and there just to be a ton of innovation besides just, hey, Bitcoin is a digital gold. That's all it is. It's going to $1 million. It's a store of value. That is all it is. They don't want that other kind of that value add that Bitcoin could bring to the table. But with all the liquidity and the trillions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin, it's going to happen. Cardano is really at a very key foundational level to this happening. And so that is huge for Cardano. And I wanted to cover the news just because it really is big news. And it's happening while we're just kind of like, come on, what is going on? I think it's pretty interesting right now. I want to do some charting here just to kind of give an update on where we are and what's going on. We're waiting for a lot of things. A big week I talked about in today's video earlier with Jerome Powell speaking on Wednesday. We're waiting on potential tariff news. This could go one way or the other, but we're waiting for the macro bullish catalyst. The really part of it is the increased liquidity from an M2 global money supply perspective, but also we're looking for the Fed to pivot, right? And we're looking for tariffs and all that stuff to be resolved. But if you look at this chart, right, this is Cardano on the zoomed out. Just notice the stepping stones, swing low to swing high. Cardano revisiting down here, but even slightly below the Fibonacci, higher low Fibonacci, but putting in a higher low. We have swing low to swing high. Cardano revisiting, and this was in a very, very, very high fear environment. And if we really compare what kind of environment this high fear was, it was very similar to August. But right now, we're trying to exit that higher low. Just look at the similarities, though, in terms of what the exit could look like. We exited there, but then we were chopping around, back down, back down. So we have macro higher lows on Cardano, right? We're waiting for a very huge Fed policy pivot, opposite of what happened back here, QT starting. We're looking for QT to start winding down and ending for these altcoins to start making a move to the upside. And then I'm zooming in, and I'm like, this is pretty interesting because what I'm waiting for now is very similar to what we saw here with the higher lows on the weekly. What I mean by that is, if you look at ADA, and this is what I'm watching for potential short-term, volatility going into the next 36 hours, 48 hours with Jerome Powell on Wednesday, swing low to swing high, ADA revisiting a higher low at around 60 cents to around 56 cents is in play. And it's telling just to go back to that August swing low. Now we're zoomed in on zoomed in Fibonacci's, that swing low to where we're starting to exit. It's looking good, swing high. Look what ADA did. It actually did revisit a higher low Fibonacci. So this move that you see back here, it was, I'm sure we can go back and probably watch videos or go to X and see what people are saying. This was just brutal. We think we're exiting the bear market and then we're going back down. But just if you start looking at what was getting ready to set up, it was a bottom formation before explosive move. This could be exactly what is playing out right now. This is very normal in crypto, but either way, there is so much patience involved if you're a macro investor. It just is what it is. And I realize there's a lot of people out there that want to make, some quick money in crypto. And I just have found the most successful people in crypto, it's not because they're making quick money. It's because they're zooming out on charts. They have a long-term plan. And when it comes to short-term volatility, they're focused on the opportunities. They're focused on the value play that they've decided to invest in. So yeah, maybe ADA falls into the 50s, into this Fibonacci. Maybe it doesn't. But either way, I think it's very important to zoom out on the charts. But it's a really good illustration of some things to expect or at least anticipate in terms of price action and volatility for ADA. And I wanted to bring it up. But really, in this video, I really just wanted to discuss what is going on here because that right there, I got to use that in the thumbnail. That's just very big. It really is very big as we prepare for a new crypto era because that is what's happening right now. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. I appreciate you cruising through. I will see you in the next video. God bless.